This video is demonstrating surface crochet. In this scarf pattern, I like to place all my markers showing me where I'm going to do the little dots of surface crochet before I begin anything. That way I can adjust it if it didn't come out the way I want it. And when I do work on the scarf, I like to do it with my legs propped up because that makes it easier for me to see what I'm doing. Doing it flat in my lap is not quite as comfortable. You could also work at a table if that's easiest. So you want to go into the end of the scarf that is closest to the section that you're going to do the surface crochet on. If I was doing the gray section, I would be entering from the bottom end, or this blue section, I would go through the bottom end, but the orange and the top blue, I go in from the top. So I've turned this upside down, and when I'm working inside the scarf, I'm going to be drawing loops up of yarn, and all I'm doing is grabbing the yarn with my hook and pulling that loop through. So I'm going to move my left hand with the gold yarn inside the scarf, and I'm going to pick one of these markers to begin with. And you start by inserting your hook between or into one of the spaces. It can be between the legs or it can be to the side of the stitch. It really does not matter at all. So I'm going to put my hook through there, and then I'm going to try to find that loop of gold yarn. And then get this marker out of the way so that doesn't get in the way. All right, so then I'm going to continue by using the holes that are nearby, and it really does not matter at all which holes you pick because you can tighten or loosen the stitches as you need to. So with that first stitch on my, with the first loop on my hook, I'm going to put the hook into another nearby space and draw a loop through, and then I'm going to draw it through the loop that's already on the hook, and I've made a stitch. And then I'm going to turn slightly because I'm trying to go in a circle here. I'm going to get another loop of gold yarn from the inside and pull that through already on my space. Now, in order for me to not have to keep turning the scarf, sometimes I have to take my hook out of the loop and reposition it so that I'm still continuing in a circle, and that just helps it to not get twisted. So I'm going to go into another space. Whoops. Hook that gold yarn onto my hook and pull it through the stitch already on the needle. Reposition it to keep turning. And you have to be careful. Whoops, I've hooked, that was my tail, so I'm going to take that one out. You do have to be careful not to accidentally hook your tail. You want to keep hooking your working yarn, and I'm going to untangle that so I can tell which one is which with my hand. Okay, so into a space and trying to pull a loop through. Oops, and I've got two loops there, so let's pull on the tail and get rid of one of them, and that leaves me with the working yarn. And then into another nearby space. Pull that through. Into another space, pull it through. Now I'm coming real close to where I began. And I'm going to pull that loop through. Okay, so now I've done a little circle, and here's my last loop. You see how this is the yarn on the left side. That's the one that's moving. This one is not moving. So the moving yarn is the one that you want to cut. And then get that out of the way. And then you're going to thread this onto a yarn needle to finish it off. And in order to finish off your little circle, you want to just continue it. You kind of have to think of it the way you would finish off knitting in the round. You want to go between the legs of a stitch that's already here. So there's one of the legs, another leg, and then I just go right back through the legs of the stitch that was the last one I made. So that's what it's going to look like. And then you have these ends. I just like to tie them in a knot and cut them off because the inside of the scarf here, you're not going to get a lot of friction there, so just having a bunch of tied off ends is totally fine because it's all hidden. And your finished product is going to look something like that.